everyone, my name is Carla Hudson. I'm the assistant principal for NACA this year elementary, and I want to thank everyone for submitting all of their questions after our session last week. I'm hoping that some of the questions and answers will provide some clarity of what might you expect as we start on this new journey on Tuesday. Before we get started, I just again want to thank everybody for all of their collaborations, questions, and how excited everyone is to kind of get NACA up and running. We are super excited to welcome 1,465 students to NACA, but with that, there has been some obstacles that we had to overcome as we are trying to create a great program for families and for students, but it's something that all of us are pretty new at. Of trying to start a cyber school. So I want to kind of start the session like I discussed on Thursday, how important it is for our collaboration and our communication, that as we get started, as we kind of work through some of the I am for sure some obstacles that we are going to be having in regards to technology, communication, things like that we ask for grace as we all kind of learn and grow together, because I am very confident that this experience and this year we will continue to be, we will grow as learners and as educators, but it will make us all better from it. So we are excited. That's the mindset that we are continuing to have. The possibilities and the things that we can create this year are endless, but it's going to take some time for all of us to get where we want to be. So I'm going to read the questions that we received and then review some of the answers to hopefully provide some clarity. So one of the questions is, what's the average class size? Class sizes at NACA are at the district class limits. So in kindergarten through second grade, there are about 24 students. In grade 3, 27 students. And in grades 4 and 5, 29. Is there flexibility in the schedule to allow for children in the same house to have the same lunch schedule? So schedules were developed based upon support and staffing for students. The development of our first schedule had to take into account a variety of needs and services that all of our students receive. Some examples are special education, EL or ESL, goal, intervention, math acceleration, while following additional requirements set forth by the district and state. We designed this schedule knowing that everything may often look great on paper, but there may need to be some changes as we live it. So we will continue to be reflecting and refining the schedule to ensure we are best meeting our students' needs and the needs of our families, as well as ensuring that everyone is getting what they need. So our Wednesday schedule and our lunch schedule, for Wednesday specifically. So all synchronous instruction will occur from 9 to 12 on Wednesday. That does not necessarily mean that your child would be live all morning, but the teachers will be live during those time, either working in small groups, one-on-one, or in a large group or whole group. Additional asynchronous instruction will occur in the afternoon for approximately 1 to 2 hours of work depending on the grade level. So students will be assigned asynchronous work, which will be a little bit more than they would possibly receive on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, but there'll be some flexibility within it as we kind of dive into it, but students aren't done at noon on Wednesday. They will have continued work that they will need to do that day. So everyone finishes up at noon that day, so lunch can occur after that, whatever meets the needs of your families during that time to serve lunch. So again, lunch can start for grades 1 through 5 at noon. Students in grades 3, 4, and 5, third grade, if you are choosing to participate in orchestra, that's where the large ensemble time will be, which will be virtual. And then grades 4 and 5 will have chorus ensembles and band or orchestra on Wednesday afternoons as well. The schedules that you received on Thursday are a bit different that you might have received in your brick and mortar. So our student information system is called Tyler. And as a K-12 building, in the first K-12 building, a lot of our schedules depended on secondary scheduling, not just elementary. And prior to this year, our Tyler system, it served many purposes for us at the elementary, but for what parents and students saw at the elementary level, it really came into effect when we started to look into grades and report cards. But now, since Tyler in that system feeds the rest of the systems and classes that we work, it looks a little bit more complicated. So on Thursday, when the schedules went live, the times that were listed in there really have no relevance to really what they're doing in brick and mortar. Unfortunately, we wanted to ensure that you got your homerooms on Thursday, but just giving you the homeroom, we were not able to do that. So I apologize for any of the confusion that caused regarding the times that were on those schedules. Your classroom teachers have been and will be, if you have not already received a more detailed schedule, that your child will, you'll get to know exactly when they need to log on and what their day will look like with those expectations. The other piece of Blackboard in Tyler is that Blackboard, Tyler's generates the Blackboard courses so that students have that ability to log on into those specific courses, and so you don't have to hunt different places. Blackboard is our schoolhouse. That's how I'm kind of imagining it, and then all the additional resources that we are using students will be able to access through Blackboard for links to go there. So again, my apologies for the confusion that any of the scheduling information that you received. For example, AMK goes 9 to 1 on that schedule. Kindergarten, AM kindergarten only goes 9 to 11:45, and the afternoon kindergarten is 12:45 to 3:30. So your teachers will be giving you exactly the times you need to log on in those specific schedules. The most important information that you received from the schedules was what your homeroom teacher was, and then any additional if you are in grades 3 through 5 and are departmentalizing, so you have a breakdown of who is leading some of those different subject areas. Attendance. So we will be taking attendance from 9 to 9:15 during their morning meeting. And that's the only time we will be taking attendance. Teachers will take attendance by submitting an attendance report, and they will be looking either at Blackboard Collaborate or, for this first week, if we are using Google Meet for our morning meeting, by looking at that roster of who is live during that time. If something occurs that you are not able to log in live during that time, especially this week, just make sure you email myself, your home classroom teacher, or our secretaries. Where there'll be orchestra and band and chorus at NACA. Students at NACA will have the opportunity to participate in grades 4 through 5 in band, orchestra, and chorus. Students in grade 3 will have the opportunity to participate in orchestra, just like in brick and mortar. All lessons will be held virtually, and virtual ensembles will occur on Wednesday afternoon. Band and orchestra are not listed in Tyler though. The band, orchestra, and chorus teachers are currently finalizing their student numbers and will be starting in the next coming weeks. That will be an organization that will be part of your child's Blackboard that will allow them to log in and then meet on the video conferencing system called Collaborate. And that's how they will communicate, but it wouldn't be something that would be listed on Tyler. This is very similar. A question that we got was for goal. Goal is not a graded subject, therefore we don't list it in Tyler. So those students will, again, the teachers will be connecting and they will be part of an organization for them to log in to receive their goal instruction. Goal, like I said, is not a graded subject, but I wanted to talk a little bit about Great Goal, Math Acceleration, our EL, and learning support in Tyler, which will be updated on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. But Goal is not a graded subject, therefore it's why it's not in Tyler and not in your child's schedule. 6th grade math teachers for 5th grade and 4th grade math teachers will be updated, so you will see exactly who that teacher would be. We are excited for this opportunity. Our 5th grade students that are taking 6th grade math will take it with the students that are in brick and mortar virtually. So for example, if you are a McKnight 5th grader or a Hozak or a Peebles, your teacher will be Mr. Frank, who will be instructing both students in our hybrid model as well as in our cyber. So we're excited for that opportunity. And our 4th grade students that are grade accelerated, we will have that system updated for when we start math instruction, so you will know who your 5th grade math teacher will be. The same thing goes for learning support and ESL. Another major question we got was, does NACA use Edgenuity? Yes, NACA students will be using Edgenuity. At the elementary level, it is called Accelerate, which was referred on the slide titled Platforms on Thursday. So just to ensure, we will definitely be using Edgenuity, Edgenuity/Accelerate. Accelerate, again, is what they call it at the elementary level. But Accelerate will be used as a supplemental resource that NACA teachers will use to remediate, reinforce, and enrich the core curriculum. To ensure students are able to transition without a loss of instruction from NACA to a school building or from a school building to NACA, teachers have created a crosswalk in alignment with the NA curriculum in Accelerate. Students will learn and be able to navigate the Accelerate platform, which is called Buzz, and it will be accessed using Tiger ID and Blackboard. Blackboard, again, will be our schoolhouse. That will be our organization of lessons, instructions, and submission. And Edgenuity and Accelerate will all work through there. So that's how the teachers will assign it and assign that material. It is a great additional resource for us for some asynchronous instruction. But what we can't do is really so that we can have students go back and forth easily and have no instructional loss. It's really important that brick and mortar and cyber are on the same page. Again, we will be using Accelerate for a lot of that asynchronous time, but initially we really want to make sure everyone knows how to navigate Blackboard and all of the additional resources that we have access to. So really excited about the programming that we are putting together. A question was regarding assignments and tasks for special areas. So the students have to complete them and turn them in within 24 hours. So students will get their asynchronous assignment for the week on Monday from art, library, music, and gym, and they will not be due until that Friday at 4 o'clock. Another question is, how will health and phys ed be taught and all specials be taught? So students will receive asynchronous lessons from those teachers on Monday. They will then have whatever assignment, it will be have some videos to watch and activities to engage in, and they will be due on Friday. But throughout the week, students will be able to meet with those teachers, which we are calling our special areas live options. Now, students will be options, and it'll be a larger group than just that homeroom meeting with those teachers at that time. So the first part of that lesson will be them engaging in watching something. So for example, health and PE might choose to do a yoga lesson where the students can watch and partake. The discussion board will not be on during that time, but they can still watch that teacher live and engage in that activity with them. And then there will be a short question and answer if anyone has any questions on any of their asynchronous work. But I also want to point out that those teachers will also be available by email, just like if they were in brick and mortar. One of the questions was the science and social studies rotation. District-wide, so also in brick and mortar, grades 3, 4, and 5, all 7 elementary schools, and in NACA will be doing science during the first quarter. Grades K through 2 will be doing social studies. During the second quarter, grades 3 through 5 will be doing social studies, while grades K through 2 will be doing science. So that will be district-wide, just really to ensure that we are as consistent as possible and students are not getting repeated instruction or the standards if they were to go brick and mortar to cyber. Differentiation in ELAP was a question. So in the last, with NTSS, we have been able to provide what used to be called ELAP in all of our schools last year, but students and teachers, and that's where it may change by week or by however the teachers structure it, where they are meeting with small groups so that they can be providing enrichment and remediation after they meet as a core whole group lesson. So learning coaches, just to clarify what our hope was for a learning coach. Really, that learning coach is just meant to be the adult that may be assisting the students if they have any issues logging on, or if they're not sure what to do, the student, because since we won't physically be able to be next to them. So the learning coach or the adult in the classroom, not necessarily, or excuse me, at home, does not necessarily have to be sitting next to the student at all, but if the student would have a question logging on, or might have a question on how to access the teacher or email the teacher, that adult would be present to help. If one of the questions that was regarding this learning coach is, can the adult help during asynchronous time? And I think the teacher will be able to guide you on how much support and what should the child be able to do independently. So I will ask you to look to your teachers, how they organize that, and but the expectation really is just that the adult is present if there are any additional questions that the student may have during a lesson that they are not able or have the skills to access the teacher. So that might be, an email to the teachers, hey, we're confused about this. He's having difficulties doing this independently. Picture day. So if you are not comfortable coming in person, there will be an option for you to submit a picture for your yearbook and for our virtual yearbook. Communication practices overall. So we are almost finalized. I think it's continuing to be built and it continues to be changed regarding the communication that we have on our website. So I would encourage you to continue to look at our website, for example, for personal emails and phone numbers, as those continue to be built for school personnel. So all the administration, secretaries, teachers, tech support especially, calendar and events. Also make sure you check out the weekly newsletter on Friday. And then in your students' Blackboard, there'll be an organization for NACA students, and we will also house information in there. So we want to make sure we're over communicating. That is our goal. I know that's, as we've continued to develop and build and more students have enrolled, we know that is an area that we are continuing to improve on and grow from. But those are our initial 3 areas where you can look for information coming from us. Parent-teacher conferences was another question, and how those will look for NACA families. NACA families will definitely have the opportunity to conference with teachers, just like in brick and mortar. That will definitely be virtual, but more information will be coming in probably October of how that will look and your sign up for that. One of the things that our learning support teachers and our support staff, as well as our MTSS interventionists and reading support, have been making lots of contacts with case managers that were brick and mortar. That is also for our counselors, have been in close contact with all of the students' counselors that have been in brick and mortar, just to review IEPs, review accommodations, things that we need to know for the students to be successful, as well as interventions they may have received in the previous year. So that's everything that we are kind of collecting, just to ensure that we know what we need to know about the students for anyone that might be new to any of that support staff. So the wonderful thing about us being still in district, is that we are so close with all those staff members that might know your kiddos better than us. Some questions were about the future. So there has not been a specific transition plan for students transitioning back into brick and mortar. The question specifically asked, will all students, if like 5 students from NACA that are transitioning back to McKnight, necessarily be in the same class with that same teacher? And that really just depends on enrollment at that time. But I know that we will be discussing as the 9 weeks ends, of what are some things we need to do to ensure that transition is smooth. Vice versa, if they're coming to NACA, or if they are going to brick and mortar, what supports need to be in place so that there is minimal to no instructional time lost. And the one question was regarding, will NACA be here in 2021? And you know, I'm not, just like this year, I think it continues to unfold, but hopefully this year will be successful, and it will be a continued service in the future, but that's kind of not determined at this time. And I think this one was a specific one for McKnight, so I'm really happy to be able to answer that. That are supplies and yearbooks that were for McKnight due to the construction that we are not able to hand out at the end of the year. I know Dr. Shute and the team there has been working hard as construction is wrapping up to ensure that those materials are collected, and we'll have a NACA pickup. I will not sure if it will necessarily happen during our consumable pickup on the 16th, but I know that they are working to kind of get those materials ready so that they can distribute it to their owners and students can get their yearbooks. These were some specific tech support and video questions. If the NA iPad is non-functional, can students access all class materials and meeting by a home-owned device? The answer is yes, as long as your operating system and browser are updated, but you need to log into your Tiger ID to access it. And then another question was, is there a recommendation browser for students to use to access Blackboard outside of the app? And that would be Safari and Chrome are both recommended browsers for Blackboard. All of the videos and additional trainings and PD we have for parents, families, and students will be available on our website. So anything that you may have missed or some of the technical difficulty that we had last week, all of those sessions are recorded so you will be able to access them. So I just want to thank you for your time. I hope I was able to answer most, if not all, of your questions. We are super excited for Tuesday. We know though that the most important thing is your kids and us building those relationships with your students, and that